Alright guys, so today I'm gonna go try out my favorite fishing hole. I haven't been back there in a while. I live on a wildlife refuge. Knott's Island is mostly wildlife refuge land. It's Mackay Island NWR Refuge, and I have access to miles and miles and miles of bank fishing. So I do a lot of bank fishing. Up here, well actually right here to the left, is an impoundment. This is one big impoundment right here. And then up here a ways is another one. And I like to fish that second one. It's about a mile to get there. That dude will get there long before I do. That's okay. If there's any bears up there, he'll run into them first. We do have black bears. So I like to talk when I'm coming back here to let everything that's potentially here know that I'm here. Because the last thing you want to do is spook a mother with cubs. That would be a bad, bad situation. So I always talk, make noise, let everything know that I'm here and that I'm coming. Hopefully this hole that I like to fish in is not flooded today. They flood these impoundments for the waterfowl during duck season. And last time I came back here, it was still over flooded. So the spot where I usually stand to cast from was under about 1.5 feet, 2 feet of water. But I guarantee you this spot hasn't been fished yet this year, but other than by me. People just don't come back here. There's plenty of bank access up there where you can just drive your car and park. Having to walk a couple of miles to the fishing spot with all your gear, I guess that's not ideal for most people, so I don't mind doing it because there's a lot of fish. All right, well, as you can see, it's still flooded real bad. Normally where I stand to cast is up there around where all that vegetation is sticking up, right along the edge. That's a pond right there. There's a hole right there. And that's what I fish, and they congregate in there. They stack up in there. Sometimes you'll catch some over here as well. And I think that's what I'm gonna try to do right now. I wore my Crocs, so I guess I can get in there and wade in there a little bit and see if I can catch anything, but I'm not gonna do it right from the get-go. I'll see if I can catch anything in this canal right here first. Again, being very careful of snakes because this place is a snake haven for a wildlife refuge. I mean, that's pretty much what there is here. A bunch of cottonmouths. I'm using this buzz frog from Blitz lures. Last week I had a fish crush it, and it took the weight out of it, so it no longer has a weight in the belly, so it doesn't work quite how it's supposed to, but we're gonna give it a shot and see what happens. See if they get down on the top water today, because I am ready for some top water fishing. All right, look, there's see right here, there's like this little area where there's water in between. See, there's some vegetation right there, and there's some vegetation right there, and then there's an area in between it that doesn't have any. There's a culvert right there. That's usually dry land. And there's a culvert that runs between this canal and that pond. And sometimes there are some really big fish that sit right up in that culvert, that sit right in the pipe. Well, doesn't seem to be anything wanting to grab this frog. There might be some bass right up along the edge. Switch over to something submersible here. Let's give that new drop shot a try. A drop shot lure from Samatis baits. That might just be the ticket. They haven't responded to a whole lot of anything this year, so maybe Finesse is the way to go, man. you guys, this is highly unusual for it to even be this long before I have a bite. Something has changed this year. I don't know what's going on, but something has changed. This has really been my go-to spot for years now. And it's produced every year without fail, but this year's been tough, man. All of my spots have been tough this year. Seriously. It's very, very discouraging. This is unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. All right, well, what else have I got? I guess I could try this finesse jig over here in this pond and see how that fares. I don't know, man. I got to be very careful in here for snakes. Really getting down in the muck here. Because, dude, it's super muddy right here, too. I just don't know, man. Like I said, this is usually where I fish, way up here. Way up there. Okay. A lot of bait fish up here in the shallower area. Frustrating. You know what's probably happened? Okay, this area is usually not flooded like this. This is dry right here. All the way up to that vegetation is dry. When they flooded this, I mean, it's under a considerable amount of water here. These fish are probably in there. They're most likely, you know, where it's usually dry. They're up in there in the reeds. They're in that grass. That's where they are. About another half a mile down this road, there's another good spot, but it's going to be getting dark here before too long. I don't want to be stuck out here in the dark. Guess we can go give the jig a try over in the canal there. Waterlogged. All right. Let's see here. Whoa! Ho! Almost stepped on Cottonmouth. Did you guys see him? That's what I didn't want to do today. At least this time I got it on video. Where did he go? I don't like that. Like I said, it's the ones I can see, I ain't worried about them. It's the ones I can't see that I'm worried about. Yeah, we don't like that. We don't like that at all. But I say, y'all probably wonder why I don't move around very much when I'm fishing out here. Well, that's the reason. Like I said, they're everywhere. It's nothing to come out here and see 10 of them in a day. And they don't want to bite you. They typically don't bother you, but like I said, if you can't see one, you step on it, well, you're gonna get bit. I had a buddy that got bit by one, and he was in the hospital right a good while. I forget how many vials of antivenom they had to give him, but I don't want to get bit by one. I got a heart condition, and I'm afraid that it would aggravate my heart condition. It could potentially make me die. You know, Cottonmouth, their bite isn't a fatal bite. You know, I used to work at a marina, and they get up on the dock all the time over there, and my boss tell me, you know, you gotta be afraid of that snake. You got 200 pounds on that snake. That don't make me feel any better. Don't like venomous animals. I've been bitten by a brown recluse, and that wasn't fun. I had a quarter-size hole on my shoulder for almost 2 years. It didn't want to heal. I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know I'd been bitten. I went to the doctor, and he told me that's what it was, a brown recluse bite. That was way back in the day when I was in the Air Force. Yeah, I don't move around a whole lot when the grass is like this. Now when they come out here and they cut it, yeah, I move a lot. But when it hasn't been cut, it's dangerous. The jig's not doing it, not here. Let's see if that dude moved up again. He was right over here somewhere. Right close to my gear. I'd like to give you guys a closer look at him. So a lot of people around here still don't know how to identify them. And they're pretty easy to identify. If you look at the head is kind of like an arrow shape. It's an arrowhead shape. They've got two big venom glands that sit on the back of their head. And they've got eyes that are totally different. You see a water snake's got a round pupil. These guys have cat eyes. They've got that evil eye. Another way you can tell them apart, if you see them on the water, a water snake will swim and his body will be just under the surface of the water. You might see a little bit of his back, but he'll typically be submerged. Cottonmouth, when he swims, their whole body sits on top of the water. They puff up with air, so they're buoyant and they float. And their whole body sits up out of the water. So, for all you guys out there that always post the "what kind of snake is this" on Facebook, there you go. Now you know. I think I'm gonna tie on a Mann's jelly worm. Oh, speaking of, let me show this to you guys. All right, Mann's jelly worm. I've always loved a Mann's jelly worm. I caught my personal best when I was 8 years old on a Mann's jelly worm. I've been a believer in Mann's jelly worms ever since. You know, honestly, it could have been any bait, but it was a Mann's jelly worm. That's what he bit. I went on Amazon because you can't buy them locally anymore. I went on Amazon looking for them. And if you guys want a fantastic lure, I found a pack of 100 for $17 and change. That is a steal. And these are Scuppernong. I think they're gonna work fine in here. They look all right. It's not quite green pumpkin, it's a little more brown, but I think they're gonna work really good in here. So yeah, you guys want a good deal, $17 and change for 100. That's awesome. Awesome deal. So go get yourself some. They do work. I promise you guys, they work. Let's see, where's my, here we go. You know, getting back on the subject of snakes, there's a lot of dudes around here that swear that these things, they'll chase you, they say. You know, to be honest with you guys, I ain't never had one chase me. I've had them swim when I'm standing on the bulkhead down there. I've had them swim right under my feet. They've gotten within inches, and I've never had a problem with them. They're not aggressive like everybody thinks they are. Adults, they know how to control their venom. And so a lot of times they'll give you a dry bite. They just want to bite you and get out of dodge. They just want to get out of the way. They think you're trying to eat them. They're scared of you. And so they'll bite, but they won't inject. Babies, on the other hand, the younger ones, they will inject. They'll pump it all because they haven't really learned that, they haven't really learned control. That's what I've always been told anyway. Baby one is actually more dangerous than a giant one. And that big old giant one knows how to control that venom, so I'll use one of these hooks, I think. It's a little thinner wire. I think these are 3/0. And some 5/0 on the other side, but don't think I want to go that big. A lot of you guys know this already, but I'm using fluorocarbon line here. I believe it's 12-pound fluorocarbon line. When you're using fluorocarbon, you tie your knot, you're supposed to wet the knot. So always lick it, get some spit on there and wet that knot. There, that's perfect. All right, Mann's jelly worm. It's on there and ready to roll. All right, let's walk down here a little bit. Maybe there won't be a snake here. Come on, Lord. I want to catch at least one fish today. It's a long walk to get skunked. And them geese up there, they got their eye on me. I'll tell you something, man. Geese, they have got to be one of the most aggressive animals. They get after you out here, man. They're evil. These Canada geese, man, they'll run you down and bite you. I've never had one get after me, but I've seen people get bit by them. They come after them. I think they know. I think I'm a waterfowl hunter. I think they know better than to mess with me. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think their instincts tell them I'm bad news. You know, I got to start making content, so I figure if the fish aren't biting, I can just talk to you guys. Maybe I can impart some knowledge. I've been doing this for 30 years, so some of you younger dudes, maybe it'll help you all out. I don't know. I've got some ideas for some different segments that I'm going to start doing. I think I'm going to start doing a Tackle Tuesday. You know, if there's some kind of a bait that you want me to cover, that you want me to go in depth on or something, I'll go buy it and we'll talk about it. You guys just got to let me know in the comment section and we'll start doing that on every Tuesday. I've also got an idea, you know, 2-minute tips, tackle basics, technique basics, things that don't take 20 minutes to explain. Hopefully to help some of you guys out. You know, one thing that I found with this fluorocarbon line, it's a little harder to tell where my bait is. With mono, you can tell pretty easy because the line, they're not exactly lined up, but the line comes out of the water pretty close to where the bait is on the bottom. This stuff sinks, so it's harder for me to judge where that lure is. Yeah, that's right there by that culvert. Come on, man. I know there's got to be a bass in that culvert just sitting there. Because I think I'm going to move down a little bit, but I don't want to disturb the geese. So I'm not going to be able to move down, but so far. There's a whole family of them. There's a whole bunch of little bitty geese. Well, they're not really little bitty. They're medium-sized geese now. They were little bitty a few weeks ago. All right, this right here is pretty. I don't have to worry about a snake right here. I can see really well. All right, for some of you guys that don't bank fish a whole lot or just starting to bank fish and want to know some stuff, here's a tip. When you're bank fishing, don't do what I just did. Step right up to the edge like that. A lot of times there's going to be bass right there at your feet. They're going to be right up against the shoreline. So oftentimes what you're going to want to do is try and cast right down there at the shoreline before you step up there. So when you step up there, you'll spook them. You're liable to spook them off. If you wait, if you cast, give it a cast, see if there's anything there, then step up. Another tip I can give you guys, and people think I'm crazy when I say it, camouflage. If you're going to be bank fishing, and especially if the water is real clear, wear camouflage. You know, people ask why, and it's for the same reason you wear camouflage when you hunt, is to break your body up against your background. If you're wearing bright colors, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. And bass do see you. They can see from above. They can also see your shadow. So another good tip is fish into the sun so that your shadow is cast behind you. Bass are predators, but they're also prey. They have a lot of predators that attack from above. You know, small mammals, birds, all kinds of stuff like that. Well, they're aware. They're aware of their surroundings. So if you're going to be fishing close, in close quarters to where the bass are, especially like these canals and stuff like that, yeah, wear camouflage. If you don't have a backdrop like I do, like I've got all this marsh grass and the woods and all of that, don't worry about camouflage. Maybe wear a blue shirt, something to match the sky. There doesn't seem to be a lot of vegetation in here right now. The bay is full of it. The bay is full of grass right now. There's just milfoil everywhere. But usually there's some vegetation in here, and I don't see it this year. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why the change. Maybe that's why I'm not catching any fish. I'd like to try out that new Weston swim, but I think the only thing that I'll catch on it in here is a grinnell. There don't seem to be any bass. Frogs are lit up in that first impoundment. I might have to go over there. You can hear that music, man. And you know the bass are eating them. I don't know. I hate leaving skunked. Not happy about it, but it's time to go. I gotta be out of here before sunset. So make sure old Mr. No Shoulders ain't crawled up in my bag. Well guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Just a perfect example of what I've been talking about. It's just been a tough year. All of my usual spots, it's very quiet. No bite, no luck. Tried all kinds of different lures, nothing worked. Almost got bit by a snake. That was fun. Kind of can't wait to get home so I can look at the footage and see how close I was to that snake. I don't know if he was sitting right on the road and I just didn't realize he was there, or if he was part way in the grass, and I don't know. I guess we'll see when I get back. But thank you guys for watching. I'm hoping that even though the bite hasn't been real good, I can come up with some content that you guys might find interesting. Hey, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. We do giveaways. We do all kinds of stuff. Hopefully, as the channel grows, I'll be able to do more stuff like that. Anyway, thank you guys again, and tight lines until next time.